What is a trust? What is a trust? In this video, I'm going to explain what is a trust. Now, you didn't come to my videos for me to tell you what other people say what a trust is. You came to my video for me to tell you what a trust is. Let me tell you what is a trust. A trust is something that builds on the previous to give to the next. That's what a trust is. A trust is something now, the trustee, that builds on the previous, which is the equity, which is the home, which is the security, okay, handled by a settlor, otherwise known as a trustor, otherwise known as a grantor. Different words that different states use to call the creator of a trust. Okay, so again, it's something now, which is the trustee, that builds on the previous, that what was given to him, that had to have been something previous, which was by the settlor. The settlor was the previous. The trustee is the now. And now it says to gift to the beneficiary. And now down here, we have the past, which is the equity held by the settlor or grantor. That's up here. That's the previous, the equity handled by the settlor, trustor, or grantor, or others. They are the past. They are the previous. They are what has to be handed down. Then you have the present, who's the trustee. This person holds the equity to give to the future. It's the past, the present, and the future. The beneficiary is the future. Okay? This is what a trust is. But there's more. Oh, you know with me, there's always more. So you have the settlor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. The party 1, party 2, party 3. 1, 2, 3. Which is the previous number, the present number, that leads to the future number. Here, I'll even change it here. You got previous plus present leads to the future. Settlor plus trustee leads to the beneficiary. Okay. This is the basis of the trust. We have to understand this. Okay. With this, they use equity and heirs. This is the equity, the previous. Okay, the trustee is holding it for the beneficiary, for the heirs. And I already told you that equity comes from the word ketu, and heirs comes from the reverse of the word rahu. Okay, ketu is the higher, the older being. That's the equity. Rahu is the younger being. That's the heirs. Ketu is the higher, older outlook. Rahu is the younger outlook. Younger version of younger insights. Ketu is the older insights. Okay, that's where equity and heirs comes in. And that's not all. In finance, Rahu is heir. But Rahu is also being heir is what makes you speak in court. You do this for someone else. You're there, you're as a purpose to speak for somebody else. In a sense, you are an advocate. You are speaking for someone who has lesser scope in life. So you being the bigger scope, you speak for them. You are protecting them. You are gifting to them. So you are their guarantor, you are their guardian. Okay, you speak as their advocate. You speak for them. In a sense, you stand for them, not their counsel, because you don't stand on the side while they speak. You speak for them. Representative, possibly, but a better word is guardian. Okay, but Ketu, being equity, is what makes you heard in court. Because this is the power of your standing. Same as they are in astrology. One is for your future, one is of your past. Now, with the importance of that, here's what makes it really impactful and why they use it. What is the Fibonacci sequence? Fibonacci sequence is the current plus the previous equals the next, which is the past plus the present equals the future. Fibonacci sequence. We have first plus second equals third. Just like here, 1, 2, 3. First plus second leads to third. First plus second equals third. First plus previous plus present equals the future. 1, 2, 3. Fibonacci. Okay, but there's more. The life equation. What's the life equation? Life equation is phi. Life equation is phi. Not pi. Pi is solid circles, as well as squares. But phi is spiral. Phi is spiral. Okay? Spiral. This is phi. So what is the life equation? Life equation is something now that builds on the previous to become the next phase. Well, that's just like up here. Something that builds on the previous to give to the next. Something new that builds on the previous to give to the beneficiary. The past, the present, the future. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Now, these are my words to get you. But still, do you see this? Looks like this definition looks like the previous definition. It's a copy. It's a copy. It's an imitation. And an imitation is the finest form of flattery. They're taking the life equation and putting it into dead paper. That's the mimicry I see. And stepping down like that, they think they're mirroring it, but instead they're mimicking it. And just like Levet with the rainbow, in the sky, red's on top, purple's on the bottom. But when you want to put it on the paper, you can copy it if you want. To be healthy in the mind has to be flipped, has to be reversed. It has to be because your chakras go from red in the bottom, purple on the top. So it's mirrored. It's not mimicked. You want it to be mirrored for your mind to fully register it. But instead, they're mimicking it, which is unhealthy. But that's the system of their health in their dead world. This is what they do. They create health in a dead world, and they'll destroy the world to get it. They already flooded it. And so where do we start to fix this world? That's the question. So as much as they hate the woman, because they torture the woman and bury the woman and chain the daughter and chain the woman. So much in history. They do it because they use her energy. They do it because they love it. They do it because they have to have it. They do it because of the total opposite of hate, which is a whole range of things. It's hypocrisy. They want to eat the cake and have it too. It's hypocrisy.
Swiss banking secrecy is the most famous, the most well-known. You put your money in a Swiss bank and they promise not to tell anybody, and that's one kind of secrecy. But another kind of secrecy, which is very British, is the trust. And the trust is a very slippery, complicated, and devious mechanism. Trusts emerged, the legend has it, from the time of the Crusades, when the knights would go off and fight in foreign lands, and they would leave their assets in the care of trusted stewards. What trusts do ultimately is they play with the concept of ownership. Ownership is not such a simple thing. So the settlor, the knight in this case, would hand over the assets to someone who these days would be called a trustee. It's often a lawyer. Legally, you are separated from those assets. They're not yours anymore. There's a barrier. You can't be taxed on them. Nobody's going to find anything about your connection to these assets.
In Britain's offshore jurisdictions, no qualifications are necessary to be a trustee. Anyone can set up a trust and act as a trustee. There is no registry of trusts. There are no bodies to certify that a trust has been set up.
The only persons who know about the creation of this agreement are the trustee and the settlor. There's no obligation to register it. There is no financial reporting obligation of trusts. They're not required to put annual statements onto account anywhere. So actually trusts are, to all intents and purposes, invisible arrangements.
Economist John Christensen was an economic advisor to the secrecy jurisdiction of Jersey for 10 years.
We're not talking about a few million. We're talking now about trillions. Trillions of dollars of capital, which apparently belong to nobody. For tax purposes and for other purposes, they belong to nobody. Everything, works of arts, gold bullion, racehorses, cars, real estate, not just financial assets, but a whole load of non-financial assets belong to these trusts, sitting there belonging to nobody. Now think that one through, because we are talking about maybe as much as $50 trillion of assets sitting offshore behind these instruments. The trust lies at the core of the British secrecy model. They don't use banking secrecy. The Swiss use banking secrecy. The British, of course, are only too willing to kill off banking secrecy because they will then capture a larger market share. That's why the Brits are doing this.
Trusts are the basic building block of Anglo-Saxon secrecy, and they form the basis from which complex offshore structures are created. Every secrecy jurisdiction offers a specific set of services, from trusts to shell companies to secret bank accounts and nominee directors. The combination of these services into complex structures, spanning multiple jurisdictions, enables the creation of secrecy structures that are almost impossible to penetrate.
An offshore structure will often have a trust kind of sitting at the top of it. The trust will be here managing the assets, kind of controlling the assets. Underneath it, the trust will own some shell companies. Each one might be in a different jurisdiction. So you might have a trust in one jurisdiction whose trustees are somewhere else, whose beneficiaries are somewhere else, which owns offshore companies somewhere else. Each of these companies might then own assets, so that they might own, a bank account, a racehorse, a yacht, a painting, a portfolio of shares or whatever.
There are numerous variations of trusts and offshore secrecy structures. There are offshore lawyers whose work entails the creation of ever more complex and obscure structures. The aim of these structures is to hide the identity of the owners of offshore assets and allow offshore wealth to be recycled back into global markets.